Hey everyone, how are ya? How's it going today? Welcome to the Periscope, and welcome to the month of October and National Planning Month, National Story Planning Month. So officially I'm declaring this month NaNoWriMo, and for those of you who know, National Novel Writing Month is happening in November, and so I'm going to do something extra special this year to make sure everyone who's doing Nano is actually ready for it. So welcome to this Periscope, the first of many that I'll be doing this month. For those of you who don't know me, I'm JenniferBlanchard. I'm an author and a story coach. I work with serious emerging novelists who want to save time, be more effective storytellers, and cut years off their learning curves so that they can write better stories and get published faster. And so, again, National Novel Writing Month is coming up. If you haven't heard of this, the idea is from November 1st to November 30th, you write a 50,000 word novel. The problem with this is 99% of the time, hello, how are you? 99% of the time, you're not going to come out with a novel. Oh, you're from Turkey. That's awesome. That's really cool. So you're not going to come out with a novel. You're going to come out with 50,000 words of something. Not necessarily a story, definitely not a novel. And the biggest reason for this is because unless you plan your story ahead of time, unless you know where you're headed with it and what has to happen from beginning, middle to end, there's no way that you can sit down and just write that by the seat of your pants and actually get somewhere. Now, if you want to make sure that you take full advantage of NaNoWriMo this year and really plan your story out before you write it, then you're going to want to join me this month, and this is the first Periscope that I'll be doing in this series. I'm going to be doing a Periscope every single day of the week, so, weekdays only, and I'm going to be sharing lots and lots of tips about where do I live? I live in New York. Not New York City, but New York State. And I'm going to be sharing lots and lots of tips to help you plan your story out so that November 1st you can sit down and start writing. And today, to kind of kick things off, I wanted to talk about, first of all, this week I'm focusing on concept and premise. So the basis of, hi, how are you? The basis of, any story plan is making sure you nail your concept and premise. And so I'm going to be diving into that a whole lot deeper over the next 4 days. But today I wanted to just talk about something kind of important, and that's the answer to the question, what is a story? So, P. Hurdy, what is my job? I am a story coach and an author. So I work with emerging novelists who want to write better stories and get published faster. And so that's what I do for a living, and so that's why I'm doing this lovely Periscope today, and I'm going to be talking about what a story is. So a lot of times writers fall under the false belief that a story is anything, and that's not true, because a story is very specific. It has specific elements that need to be there, and if it doesn't have this, then it's not technically a story. So you want to be thinking about, kind of learning what it takes to write a good story, because without that, you can't possibly get anywhere in your writing career. So, hi, how are you? Okay, so what is a story? Well, first of all, the problem is that most writers think that anything counts as a story. And so what ends up happening is they'll sit down and start writing, they'll get to the end of something, and they think they have a story. But what they actually have is an episodic narrative. So what that means is it has conflict, and there's probably things that are going on from beginning to end, but it's not an actual story because there's nothing cohesive. There's nothing that, really gets you from beginning to end that has a beginning and end point. A story that's episodic could go on forever and never really have an ending point. From Russia with love. Oh, thanks so much. So that's the problem with most stories. And let's see, P. Hurdy, what kind of stories do you write? And for what? Can I call you a writer? Yes, you can call me a writer, author. I have published my first novel this year, and I've written and published 3 other writing guides. You can find them all on Amazon. And actually, just since you brought that up, my novel Soundcheck is actually free on Amazon this entire week from Monday to Friday, and you can download it for free. So please go to Amazon and check it out. It's called Soundcheck, and you can download it, and I would love for you to do that. So, okay, getting back into this, what is a story? So, a story, like I said, has specific elements at play. So, if a story isn't episodic, if it's not just a scene of a character doing something and then going on to the next scene, what is it? So, a story is actually a protagonist that wants something, an antagonist that opposes what the protagonist wants, and a journey that ensues because of it. That is a story. Anything less than that is not truly a story. And again, it takes time to get to a story. So if you started off with an episodic narrative, it's totally cool. You can take that and take the most important pieces of it and turn it into a story, possibly. But it's not going to count as a story to the definition of story. And so just to kind of go through the difference between an episodic narrative and a story is really one thing, and that's a goal. So an episodic narrative will take you through a journey on someone's life. Maybe you'll join them through something that they go through, or a person's journey across the country or anything like that. The problem is, again, that doesn't really have a true beginning, middle, and end. That kind of a story could go on forever and never really end. And so, yeah, it has a lot of conflict, but maybe it's not, and it maybe has a lot of conflict, maybe it has a lot of drama and a lot of things going on, but it doesn't have an actual goal. And so that's what makes a story, is this protagonist has a goal of some kind that they need to get to. And so with that in mind, you get to, really think about what has to happen in this to get my character to the end where this goal is either reached or solved or whatever. And so that's what makes it a story. And so I just wanted to kind of give a little beginning introduction on that because, like I said, I'm going to be going a lot deeper over the next 4 days on really what it takes to write a good story. And, thank you for the purple hearts. And, so every day this week I'm going to have a Periscope. And if you can't catch them live, you can actually go to this replay. Oh, wait, let's see. How do you set atmosphere, mood, and tone? For a story, I would say that for that, it really is going to depend on what type of story you're writing. For me, I like to set the mode of just so I have a playlist for all of my stories that I write. So I have songs that relate to that or songs that would make me be inspired to write about a certain mood or feeling. And then I also like to have like candles and things like that when I'm writing, just so that way you kind of feel that just inspired and motivated to sit down and go. But it's different for everybody, and so you have to figure out what is the most effective for you. But like I said, I'm doing videos all week about how to write a good story, and this week I'm focusing on concept and premise, which is really the foundation of any good story. And if you don't see all of the replays live, you can go to this address right here, catch.me/inkybites, and that's my Twitter name. And if you go here, you can see replays of all the videos. So if you don't get to see them live, you can go there. Like I said, I'm going to be doing one every day during the week for the entire month of October and getting you ready to write your novel November 1st. So, stick with me. Lots of story planning tips coming. And next week, we're covering character. The week after, story structure. And the week after that, we're talking about doing the scene planning for your story. So I'm going to give you everything you need to know to write a really kick-ass story starting November 1st. And if you stick with me and learn from the tips that I share, then you'll have a full story plan that you can use to start writing and actually come out the other side of NaNoWriMo with a story and not just 50,000 words that, maybe don't go anywhere. So stick with me. And if you want to learn more about how I work with writers and help them to take their story ideas out of their head and turn them into first drafts and published novels, you can join me for a free clarity call by going to JenniferBlanchard.net/clarity call. And I would love to talk to you more about how we could work together to make your story awesome. So I will catch you tomorrow. I will be back with another Periscope, and I'm going to be talking about concept and just diving deeper into what a concept is and why your story needs one. So join me tomorrow, and